So we don't have a lot of content this time, and that's why I didn't pre-announce the meeting and to the community to set the agenda because it's going to be pretty light. But it's an opportunity for uh, to get the questions answered. If you have any comments or you want to share anything, we can also go through that. I'm going to share an idea that we are discussing of an improvement to FGA in the modeling language and the runtime that also we can discuss and get feedback. And that is basically it, the regular programming. So the agenda is going to be the same as usual. The introductions, things we shipped, some demos, and things we're going to be working in the future, community news and Q&A. And this is us. I see a lot of familiar faces in the meeting too, so probably already know us. In general, if you are new to the meeting and you want to share a little about you, where you're located, what company you work on, why you're interested in OpenFGA, and what is where you're in that adoption journey, that will be great. I see some new names, so if someone wants to share, that will be great. If not, we can move to the next slide. I'll give 30 seconds to see if someone wants to chime in and present themselves. Okay, good. So some things we've been shipping lately, a lot of small fixes and here and there. Then the most interesting one, I think, is in the beta for the JavaScript SDK, where we are moving to remove the dependency with Axios for multiple reasons. And we were wanting to do that for a long time to be able to run that SDK in other runtimes that weren't just a node. And also there was a few supply chain attacks on Axios, which made it much more interesting to kind of get rid of the dependency we wanted. And now I think the dependencies after this change will be pretty minimal, right, for the JavaScript SDK, because it will be using mostly core features of the runtime. As everyone, we are trying to minimize our dependencies to minimize the risk of supply chain attacks that are becoming very popular. So we are doing that across all repositories, and that is, and the JavaScript SDK will be in pretty good shape after this one. And we also ship after a while an upgrade to the Visual Studio Code integration in IntelliJ. We're going to start working more on that side of the product, on improving like our language core parsers and validation engine, and also exposing those to more IDEs. I've seen there was a couple of issues that we've been having there for a while that are not now fixed. And I just saw a report today. I don't know if that is a new one, Ragged, from some color things. But anyway, so we'll keep adjusting those and improving.
They're old issues, I think, but I think that
Okay.
because we had releases, people got excited to report again.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So, and I think we have an issue there with chorus in IntelliJ that we will address soon. And so this is the feature I mentioned that I wanted to share and get some feedback. The use case here is today when you want to define a condition in FGA, you can go to the model and create a condition, right? So you say condition, define it there. And then when you write a tuple, you can write a tuple conditioned by that condition. And that works well when you know the conditions beforehand. But in a lot of use cases that are becoming more common now, in particular when using agents and MCP servers, and you want to control what an agent can do when calling a specific tool, the parameters and the conditions there become more dynamic. So you might want the user who's configuring a gateway or how the agent can interact with an MCP server. You want to say, okay, I want to do whatever you want, right? If this parameter equals this or whatever condition you want, that is it's a function of the parameters of the tool and the claims you have for the user, right? So if the user is in this role and the parameter name and the Slack channels in general, then they can post or not. The idea is to give away, so it's easier to add those conditions that are not known when you are creating the model, and anyone can, and those can be added dynamically, but whoever is configuring the policies, right? It could be a developer, it could be an end user, defining those, and then we'll write those to FGA. And the syntax we're thinking of is having something like agent with, and instead of having the condition here, you have this new syntax here, and then we can send the expression as part of the context, right? So when you write a tuple, you are going to specify the expression. And that implies now that the expression is part of the tuple instead of part of the model. And then you can evaluate those dynamically based on the parameters you send. So when I now call check, the same way we do it today with conditions, when we specify the context with the parameter values, we are going to be able to do that when we call check, and we'll evaluate the expression that is in the tuple assigned to the relation that we need to evaluate to determine if the permission is granted or not. Make sense? Any question here? I know I shared that with you, Stephen, and in Slack for a specific use case that was similar to the Slack one, right? Yeah, any comments? Welcome. We'll be sharing more about this in the community. Have an RFC soon and ask for feedback to get more validation of this approach will be useful for you all. Okay, so refresh on the roadmap. We've been working in performance improvements for this new weighted graph approach. We have to evaluate permissions. That is mostly done. To move it to production, we will need to do some changes in the database schemas, particularly in Postgres and MySQL. And we are kind of figuring out the best way to do that while minimizing impact in your production systems. That's something, Sam, that I might want to talk to you to understand, to share the changes that we plan to do, the migration that we need to run, and see how that could impact heavy users of OpenFGA with a lot of data, because they might require a lock in a table, for example, and that implies that during a period of time, you cannot write to that table, right? And if you have a scenario with a lot of load, that can be problematic, right? And without impact to production system. And as part of that, we are also going to start to take more advantages of certain database-specific constructs when evaluating checks and list objects. That will also improve performance. And we also want to have this database migration done before doing that. So we expect like a new round of performance improvements after we finish this work of the database-specific performance improvements, and we'll kind of, I think we are now the fastest product on Earth for this specific scenario, this specific problem space. Will become yet faster. And then I mentioned these dynamic conditions. That is something we're gonna also pursue soon. But still we haven't started it yet. There comes a chat there. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, that's it. So I don't have anything else to share. So if anyone in the meeting has any questions for us or things that they want to share, we're open to that. And if not, we can make it short this time, and you get 30 minutes back for your day to do something different to them. Yeah, Ragged.
And one thing I just want to remind everyone, like both what Andreas mentioned around the DB performance migrations and what Victoria mentioned last time around our model kind of refinements, we may have, I don't want to say breaking changes, but do watch out for our change logs, especially minor and major bumps. On the SDKs, remember they're 0 point, so you will see major changes or breaking changes on minor version bumps. But on OpenFGA itself, sometimes they're not breaking changes, but for example, something to do with migration, you might have seen it in 1.18, where there is a log, so there is a performance cost, there's an uptime cost you might have to incur if you don't really read all the things that are happening in the change log. So please watch out for them and talk to the team if something is not working for you. But do not just pin to latest and just follow or update blindly, especially the minor and major changes. Please read them. That's it.
Good. Okay. So Thank you very much. Again, Sam, we'll be writing something in the public about the database migrations, and I will share that with you and other customers that we know we have large OpenFGA deployments, so we can understand the impact and the options that we might have to make this happen. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. See you next. In August, we already have some companies that are going to be presenting what they've been doing with OpenFGA. So that is always interesting. So hope to see you there here in a month. Bye bye.